Hi everybody, this is Mr. Phillips. I'm recording this video to talk to you a little bit about the first major essay that you're writing this term. That's the narrative essay. That's the essay that really you should be beginning this week, beginning reading about and thinking about a topic and everything. This essay is due at the end of next week. That's Sunday the 18th, October 18th. So not quite 2 weeks to be working on this, as you know, as we kind of acknowledged with the syllabus and the schedule last week. This is a pretty busy term, so we got a really quick turnaround on these assignments. So we're starting it this week, and you're turning it in at the end of next week. So basically, it's about a 2 week cycle for this assignment. You can see my face here. I'm going to move my face down into the corner here so we can start, looking at the assignment, and I can start talking about it, etc. So I am here logged in to Canvas. I'm here in the home page of Canvas. You can see some of the previous announcements and materials I've uploaded. So we're going to go into the modules, and there's a couple of different ways to navigate yourself around, but I'm going to move into the modules here so you can get up to week 2. That's where we're at. So we're going to look at this intro to Core 1 essay. That's what this essay is. It's your narrative writing. So I'm going to click on that. So this is the assignment that you should be reading through and thinking about. I'm not sure, depending on if you're looking at a cell phone or a tablet or a Canvas app, it may somehow be formatted differently, but this is what you should be reading here. It's your first major essay. It's the core. I just call them core essays. It's the core of the term of your syllabus. Really is writing essays. Narrative essay. Narrative means story. It means sequence of events, telling me a story. Now, when I use the word story here, I want a true story. Sometimes the word story can mean fiction, like we're making it all up. But this should be a true story, a true event from your life. So first of all, as we start to read, further into it, I want you to be thinking, something from your life to tell the reader. I don't want you to be making it up. I don't want it to be fake or fictional or exaggerated or embellished. This should be true events that you think carefully about how to tell that story and why to tell that story. That's narrative writing. So your task, overall, your general task, to write an essay in a personal voice. A personal voice means your personality coming through in your writing. This should not be a kind of a formal academic voice. This should be your personality coming through. I want to sense that I'm hearing from a real person writing about his or her real life. That does not necessarily mean that you should be writing in a heavy slang or anything like that. So we may want to, as we might say, kind of smooth over the rough edges. But otherwise, I don't want you to feel like you need to elevate your tone of voice into some very, very formal tone of voice. This should be a more casual tone of voice, your personality. I want to keep emphasizing that. You're going to use incorporating narrative techniques and, where necessary, descriptive techniques to describe a scene, to describe a thing, a place, person, whatever you might need to be describing as you tell your story. By using your personal experience, and here's the key, maybe your reflection. You are reflecting about this event to tell us, the reader, the significance of this event. So this may be an event that, as you pick your topic, it may be something that happened when you're 15 years old. But you're not writing this as a 15-year-old. You're writing it now about those events in the past where you have that time, since the event happened, to be reflecting on it. So as you tell me this story, because you have reflected and you've thought about it and you've considered it, you are able in your essay to communicate the significance of it. Think about it if you ever watch sports, play by play. So if you're watching a football game, you are literally describing the action as it happens. The quarterback drops back. He hands off the ball to the running back. The running back, runs into the line, twists, spins around, etc. You're giving that play-by-play as it happens. But if you're doing it that way, you're not able to really provide what I'm calling that reflection. You're not able to describe after the fact how successful the play was or why it may have been turned out to be an important play. You're just trying to keep up with the action as it goes. That's play-by-play style writing. That's not reflective. What you should be doing is you should be writing this now, after the fact. So imagine if you were to describe that football play years later, you'd be able to talk about the significance of that player. Did he turn out to be a great, famous player? The significance of that play towards that game. Was it a kind of a key play? Was it just a less important play? You'd be able to talk about the significance of the game. how that game contributed to who made the playoffs, etc. So you'd be able to, and again, using that word reflect, you'd be able to communicate the importance of that play in a larger, context. That's what you're doing as you write this essay. So you're not just doing a play-by-play to tell me a sequence of events almost as I'm watching it. You are telling me these events much later on so that you, as the person who experienced them, and much less as the writer of the essay, can communicate to me why I need to hear this. Why are you telling me this? Why is this event important to you as the person? And why is this event important within the context of your life and therefore of the essay that you're writing? So that's the reflective element. That you're writing this now, having spent some time thinking about it and considering why you need to tell us this and how you'll tell us this within the essay, how you're writing the essay. And overall, you're going to do this to develop a focused idea for your audience. The focused idea we're going to call the thesis, the idea that you want us to learn or understand about your subject or your topic. The idea that you want us to come away with, what you want to convince us, what you want to make us understand. Again, we don't just want to learn sequence of events. So I sit here as a reader and think, well, okay, that happened to you on your 14th birthday. Okay. Why do I need to know what happened on your 14th birthday? Why do I need to know whatever this event was? There's some point that you're trying to make to us. That's that idea that you need to communicate. And then your audience, you're going to pick your audience, but I want you to think about your audience very carefully. Who needs to read your essay? Who needs to read about that topic? Think about, and as you pick a group, it's not going to be necessarily me, Mr. Phillips, teacher guy. I'm just teacher. Why do I need to read your story? I need to read your essay because it's an assignment and we need to grade it. That's not really the point we're making here. But as you tell me your story, why would I need to hear it? If there's some particular reason why me, as one person out of 6 billion on the planet, why I need to read it, okay, but that's what I want you to be thinking about, me as the audience, not just me as the teacher or the grader of the essay. So as you decide your topic, I want you to decide your audience so that you can coordinate these together. How do you need to tell that story to those people? What do those people need to learn or understand about your subject or about your events? Big picture. That's how you can select your audience. So we'll be talk more about this on later events. Your purpose. Why do I want you to write this essay? Well, I want you to start working on this sense of a personal voice, how to communicate in this personal style, because other essays will have a different style of writing. So this personal voice, as we're calling it, is a particular style of writing that I want you to work on. To design an appropriate rhetorical context, I'll talk more about that in a different video. Subject, audience, purpose. But briefly, the subject is what you're writing about. The audience is who you're writing to. And your purpose is what you're trying to accomplish with this essay. Think of it as a verb. Are you trying to amuse? Are you trying to teach? Are you trying to warn? Are you trying to inspire? What are you trying to do with your writing for this particular assignment? That's your purpose. But again, we'll talk more about that on a different video maybe. Select and arrange details from your experience, which are appropriate to a rhetorical context, appropriate to that subject, appropriate to that audience, to help accomplish that purpose, etc. To demonstrate your understanding and application of narrative and descriptive techniques to show awareness of your audience. How can you communicate with that particular audience? What lessons do you have for that particular audience? So again, all these concepts are really tied together. Know who your audience is, and so that you can have a better understanding of what your purpose should be. That helps you understand how to write your essay, etc. So we'll, again, be thinking and talking more about this. Overall, I would say to improve your writing skills at each stage, you're going to think pre-writing, preparation for your essay. You're going to write. You're going to read, rewrite, revise, edit, all these different steps of your essay. Audience, again, think very carefully about your audience. Your topic. And I always like to give a little bit of leeway within an overall assignment. Your essay, you should explore an incident or an episode where you confronted one of your greatest fears. Dramatic pause. Let that sink in here. Confronting one of your greatest fears. Think about all the times in your life where that may have happened. Tell me that story. Pick one of those episodes. Don't try to tell me your whole life story about this one fear, but try to pick one episode where you did have to confront that fear. Know the real limitations on it than that, so be thinking about that. Then using that episode, that incident, develop a defendable thesis, an idea that you want to communicate to your reader, not just the sequence of events. The sequence of events is what you tell in your essay to help us understand some point. That point is the idea that you want to develop. So what do you want to make us understand? So as you kind of start thinking about your topic, consider your range of options. There are external fears, things that are outside of you that you could point at, that you could physically see, touch, or feel. Snakes, heights. Well, I can't feel heights, but heights are external. You're up higher than the ground or something. Public speaking is a thing that happens. It's an external fear. Internal fears, kind of maybe we can differentiate. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of abandonment. These are almost psychological type things. And you can pick either one. So these questions that, that follow, they're not meant to be a checklist that you have to answer one by one in your essay. These are just kind of exploratory questions to get you thinking about your event, help you choose something to write about, help you develop what you want to communicate to your reader about that event or about fears in general. So think, between the external fears and the internal fears, do you have more of one than the other? If you were to list all the things that you're afraid of, or maybe have been afraid of in the past, do you have more external or internal fears? Which one or which ones are more powerful or more debilitating? If you were to list your number one worst fear, your worst phobia, is it one of those internal ones, or is it something that crawls on the ground or something like that? So that might help you pick your topic. Once you have selected it, though, the story the event where you confronted that fear, think about these questions. How can you best tell your story? Is it somehow at its heart, is it a comical, funny story? Is it frightening? Obviously it may have been frightening at the time, but is it frightening now? Because again, you're writing it now. You're not writing it as it happened when you were terrified. You're writing it now. Is it something that you can basically laugh about now, or is it still something that you get kind of scared when you tell the story or when you think about it? Was it somehow sad? Is it instructive? Could you maybe teach a lesson based on your events? Is it a dramatic story? Was it a kind of a flippant, casual event that happened? Who can best relate to that story? What emotions do you want them to feel throughout the whole essay? Do you want to start them feeling afraid and end with them feeling afraid, your reader? Or do you want to move them into something less terrifying by the end of the essay? This fear, whatever you're writing about, is it something that you have encountered repeatedly throughout your life, or was it just maybe a one-time thing? Did you do it deliberately? So if it's a fear of heights, did you go up on a roller coaster knowing that you were afraid of heights? Or was it unavoidable? Was it something you didn't even know about till it happened? Think about these stories and how, or these questions and your answers to these questions, and how they might help you kind of flesh out, almost a paragraph by paragraph, how you tell the story, what details are going to be important, what backstory that you're going to need. And having established all that, what is your purpose? What is ultimately that purpose? What do you want your reader to take away? What do you want them to understand or learn? We can call that the thesis statement. And you want to make your reader understand that. By telling your story, you want to make your reader understand the whole idea of encountering fears. So I'm going to ask you to be writing that, and we will upload this by the end of Sunday on 10/18. We're going to read some narrative essays that you will be seeing in the schedule. Again, if we go back up there to the modules here. I'm sorry, yes, these two essays. Death of a Pig, Living Simply in a Dumpster, and we'll talk about these on the next recording. These are not essays about fear. So I want to be clear that these are not necessarily essays about fear. They are narrative essays. That's the point. They are telling a story and hoping you understand something. So in a different recording, I'll talk about these two essays from the Valencia Writer from the online textbook. But right now, I just want you to be thinking, about the assignment, about ultimately writing this essay about fear, how you can tell your story, what story you have to tell, what point you want to make for your reader. So for today, Tuesday, that's going to be enough for this recording. Like I say, I'll put up different recordings where I, talk more about those readings from the textbook, etc., and some of the smaller concepts from this document. But right now, be thinking about that. So I'm going to stop this recording. You will hear from me more over the next couple of days, so get ready for that and get ready to start working really hard. Take care. Talk to you soon.